Well. That was an interesting game. And the truth is, in as much as we want to talk about like so many things that happened within the game, you would agree with me that Manchester United actually deserved to win that game, despite the whole turmoil at the club and everything in between. Man United fans, at loggerheads with each other, ex-players talking trash about current Man United players, maybe because they were better than them in their day, or anything in between. It was Manchester United 2 and Manchester City nil. And it was an interesting game, like literally, you know. In football, we often talk about the manager bounce, but what we witnessed at Old Trafford on Saturday wasn't just a bounce, it was a statement of intent. Michael Carrick, the man who actually controlled the tempo of United for at least over 10 years, stepped into the technical area as a head coach, an interim head coach, and dismantled Pep Guardiola's Manchester City in the 198th Manchester Derby. Wow. This is not basically all about tactical analysis and stuff. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow or something. But today's focus is literally on just reacting to how Manchester United played that game. It was a 2-0 win that, in all honesty, could have been a 5-0 thrashing if not for a few, blades of grass and a very busy VR room. Main goals that were turned down and everything in between. We're talking about a dream start, a clean sheet, and 3 points that actually propelled us into fifth or fourth at the time at the end of the game. And today we're actually going to be doing a deep dive analysis of exactly how Michael Carrick, outmaneuvered Pep and what this actually means for the future of Manchester United. So let's get right into it. So we're going to do the 5 takeaways. So welcome to United Talks podcast. We're going to do the 5 takeaways and how we got to this point and everything in between. The first major takeaway has to be Carrick's bravery in his team selection, basically making 5 changes for a Manchester derby as the first act is a massive gamble. So this takeaway is going to be tagged the leadership reset and a personnel gamble. Bringing on Harry Maguire back to for his first start since November was a risk, especially against Erling Haaland. When I saw that lineup, I was like, I didn't want to say what I had in my mind, but I was like, that lineup is not actually the defense is not as fast. But I now thought about it, we might not be as open to give Haaland an opportunity to run at us. So it was definitely going to be a low block. But then when I watched the game, I was not expecting so much. My expectations were not as high, but I was able to kind of, accept that this is actually what the case was. It paid off handsomely, actually, if we're to be very honest. Maguire wasn't just a defender, he was a focal point. He nearly scored within 3 minutes, hitting the crossbar. And that made us to have, I think we've hit the woodwork 16 times, more than any other team in the Premier League this season. And obviously, Maguire's aerial dominance was evident for us to see, especially him being at the back, which actually allowed United to weather the City storm whenever we were defending deep and all of that. And then pairing that with the recalls of Luke Shaw and Casemiro showed that Carrick, wanted experience in big game heads. You recall that Luke Shaw basically missed I think he missed the Brighton game, and Casemiro didn't start the Brighton game. So getting them back on the pitch was actually what was necessary, especially knowing that they were both rejuvenated. Now he understood that to beat City, you need players who aren't intimidated by the occasion. The intensity was there for the first whistle. From the first whistle, Dalot and Shaw, both taking yellow cards in the first 20 minutes, showed a team that was finally ready to get stuck in. Dalot could have gotten a red card if you look at it, but then they didn't deem it as dangerous play, so you can actually understand why they did that. It actually disrupted City's rhythm. It made it difficult for someone like Jeremy Doku, to actually even have a say in this game. It also made it difficult for someone like Phil Foden or even like Antoine Semenyo against Shaw one-on-one. Like, it was just very difficult for these players to come out and kind of show what they could have done. And even if it meant playing on the edge, it was very necessary. So leadership, reset, personnel gamble was key and there for all to see. Now, we have to also talk about the second takeaway. And the truth is, like I said, it's no coincidence that the moment these AFCON guys came back from AFCON, we now eventually had the opportunity to start scoring freely again. I mean, they've been away for a month and there has been chaos since they left. Amorim was here before they left. Amorim's gone and we've changed manager and they didn't play under that manager. We now changed manager again. And obviously they came and met Michael Carrick. Now, that is the AFCON X-Factor, and that's Amad and Mbeumo. We have to talk about the timing of the AFCON Cup of Nations. Having Amad and Mbeumo return this week was like signing two world-class players in the January window. They went straight into the starting 11 and they were the difference. They were the difference makers. They were involved in everything positive for the team. Mbeumo becoming United's most reliable goal threat, his 8th goal of the season, didn't just happen. It was a result of work rate. He started the breakaway himself, showed the chemistry he's built with Bruno Fernandes and Amad, and then finished with with the composure of a seasoned veteran. His pace, his running, his everything at the defense. On the other hand, or on the other side, Amad was, a constant thorn on City's side. He's maturing into a winger who can drift inside and create chaos. Even though his goal was ruled out, his ability to beat the keeper and his space on the break actually provided, verticality and that which United had lacked in the first half of the season. And in truth, when you look at the way we started 2026, this is our first win in 2026. And I think we've played like 3 games or 4 games in 2026 already, and it's been difficult with draws left, right, and center, and all of that. Since the last time we won any team was in 2025 when we beat Newcastle on Boxing Day. So it's like, and even struggled to beat Newcastle. In that Newcastle game, we scored a goal and we sat back the entire game. In this one, we sat back, but it was not like we were on the edge. It was like, watch your live, watch along, you see it was like we were basically we were defending, but I could say this with confidence that we would score because I wanted us to score, and I said, oh, we should score another goal and all of that, and that's what happened. Actually, that's what happened. We eventually got the chance to score again, so I was pretty impressed with how the team panned out, how the team kind of delivered, and how the team came up tops with the goal and everything in between. And it's one of those things where you have to just be kind of like positive about it and just say to yourself, you know what? Like, I'm really impressed by how they played. Forgetting about the ball possession, forgetting about all the other things that could have been factors that would have led to us winning and all of that, or losing the game because we missed too many chances. And when we were missing chances, I was saying, why are we missing so many chances? We need to take full advantage and actually try to win games. So yeah, Amad is maturing, and obviously he's 23. He just came back from the AFCON, and he's been in form. Got stuck in, came back I think before the Brighton game, and then eventually they had to sit out that one. Mazraoui is yet to be back. He's playing the final of the AFCON tomorrow, so it is what it is. Yeah. Now, takeaway number 3 is Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes in the free 10 role. While we've seen him, play various roles over the last year, Carrick seems to have given him the keys to the city. But to this aspect, I would say that Bruno Fernandes has been doing this all along. It's just that which they criticized him for is that which he's using to thrive in this team, and that is positional discipline. Everybody's saying, oh, he's not positionally disciplined, so he doesn't stay in his position and he runs like a mad dog and everything. But in truth, he basically really did what he needed to do to ensure that he dragged this team to win. He's played various roles at this club, and the truth is, where would we have been without a special person like Bruno Fernandes? In as much as we want to deny it, that's an actual fact. Carrick seems to have given him the keys to the city. Bruno was involved in almost every high-value attacking sequence. He pounced on a rare Rodri mistake. He picked out Dorgu for a massive chance in the first half, and he provided assists for the Mbeumo opener. The most encouraging sign, basically, is, however, that he's the goal that was ruled out, basically. The vision from Licha Martinez to find him was sublime, but Bruno's movement to get behind Nathan Ake showed a player who is reading the game 2 steps ahead of the opposition. If Carrick continues to use Bruno as the high intensity playmaker who can float between lines, United's transition game becomes one of the deadliest in Europe. But then, if you want to see the true performance of a player, then go and check Bruno's stats and you will see what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about stats that beautify him. You know, when we do player ratings and all of that, I look at defensive contributions of everyone. And in this game where we played really well, check the defensive contributions of the entire team. I think the player with the least defensive contribution in the back line will be probably Luke Shaw. Then the player with the least defensive contribution in the midfield will probably be Patrick Dorgu. But you know the player with the most defensive contribution all through the entire game? That is Bruno Fernandes, followed by Casemiro. So if you want to see how a player has performed really well, check that defensive contribution and you will understand what I'm talking about. So Bruno done really well, showed himself, and did what was necessary to get us that win. Now, which takes me to takeaway number 4, the defensive masterclass and St. Lomans. You cannot win a derby without a solid foundation, and the defensive performance was flawless, basically. Keeping a clean sheet against Pep Guardiola's side is a monumental task. St. Lomans, the Belgian, between the sticks was massive, but he only had one save. That's the thing. And that's the save from no, actually 2 saves. 2 saves. It clicks now. The save from Max Align's header, it looked like it was Dalot that cleared, but St. Lomans actually punched that. Max Align's header in the first half was world class and kept the momentum from swinging towards City. Obviously, if they had scored in the first half, that would probably have put us down and everything. But it wasn't just the keeper. Lisandro Martinez's block on Erling Haaland in the second half was a goal-saving moment. United actually defended as a unit, managed the closing stages with professional maturity, and limited City to long-range efforts and speculative crosses. And this was United's 3rd clean sheet of the campaign. Obviously, the first clean sheet came against Sunderland. The second clean sheet came against Newcastle, and now a 3rd clean sheet against Manchester United. What's the common denominator for all of this? It is the fact that everybody that we kept clean sheets against are top 10 teams, right, in the top 10. Amad, Bruno, basically, Amad, Bruno making an impact in this, but it being United's 3rd clean sheet, it feels like, the most significant one because of the caliber of the opposition. And like I said, the common denominator of these people who've kept 3 clean sheets with are that they are in the top 10. Now, the 5th takeaway from all of this is the mentality to overcome VAR frustration. Yeah. This is perhaps the most underrated takeaway of all 5 takeaways. United had 3 goals ruled out for marginal offsides and marginal offside decisions. And in previous months, we've seen, a squad that their heads will drop when technology goes against them. Amad, Bruno, and Mason Mount all thought that they had scored, only for the celebrations to be cut short. Amad even had another chance where he hit the woodwork as well. That actually, really, made everybody feel distraught. Under Michael Carrick, the response was different. Instead of, complaining to the referee or losing focus, the Reds actually went again. When Mount's goal was ruled out after the lengthy review or VAR review, United didn't crumble. They tightened up and saw the game out. And the mental fortitude, the ability to stay in the zone despite the 3 major setbacks, is a hallmark of a team that believes in its manager and its system. And one thing we have to give credit to, in as much as many people don't like to hear this, is the fact that you have to give credit to Ruben Amorim for giving them that mental fortitude. You remember under Ten Hag, the moment we concede a goal, and we try to go again and we concede again, it becomes a problem, right? But this season, Ruben Amorim came with that mentality of if we go down, we don't lose. So, right, most of the games that we've gone down, we've either found a way to come back to draw. So it's like, yeah, we went up for and the run continues again. Yeah, we're up. So this time around, it wasn't that we're up at halftime, but we're up in the second half, and we saw the game. So we're going to talk about bonus takeaways. The reason why I brought this bonus takeaways is the fact that you have to give honorable mentions to certain players. So first and foremost, bonus takeaway number one is the emergence of Patrick Dorgu. I remember when Renamrim signed him for the first time, played him on the right as a right winger. Patrick Dorgu was, people were shouting, "Oh, why you playing him as a right winger? You bought a left wing back and you're playing him as a right winger, and you're playing him out of position." Blah 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 blah. But Patrick Dorgu is playing as a left winger now and still playing in quotes out of position and still delivering, scoring goals, creating chances, running at defenders, winning fouls, and he's the most foul player in this team and all of that. We have to give credit to him. We have to give him his flowers. He scored the second goal for the club. He scored his second goal as well for the club in a Manchester derby, and it's a stuff of legends, a stuff of dreams. His ability to get in front of Rico Lewis and cushion that cross from Mateusz Cunha showed incredible striker's instinct. Even though he's not a striker, he's a left back or whatever you want to call it. Because I remember I did a full player profile of Patrick Dorgu, and that's what made me to really kind of go deeper into player profiles to kind of give you a sense of an understanding of what is actually going on with the team. And it made me do that. And when I did it, I now started to get a sense of an understanding. Anywhere across the field, Patrick Dorgu has played except for centre back and striker. And this is how, even midfield, right? So across the sides of the field, played left back, right back. He's played left wing, right wing. He's played left forward, right forward. He's played right 10 and left 10. This is Patrick Dorgu for you. Played across midfield. Played, except for the central and defensive, he has played right back, right wing, left wing, or right mid, left mid, and then right wing back, left wing back, right wing forward, left wing forward, and has actually played right 10, left 10. That is Patrick Dorgu for you. What are we talking about? It is what it is. Anyway, he's proven to be a versatile player, hungry, young player who gives Carrick a different profile in the final third. And that long may continue because Patrick Dorgu is your next right winger, right? Your next right winger. But it is what it is. Another bonus takeaway is the Carrick ball, the pressing triggers, and what I called the asymmetric Carrick code. I called it when I analyzed the Carrick game. Technically, United looked much more organized in their press. We saw Mbeumo and Casemiro stepping up in the right times, forcing City into mistakes. Rodri is usually the coolest man on the pitch, but United made him look human. The way United actually pounced on his slack in the middle of the park actually showed and suggests that Carrick has been working hard on trigger-based pressing rather than just running aimlessly across the field. And that is what really happened in the team. And yeah, we have to talk about it. We have to kind of give credit where credit is due and everything in between. Then the next bonus takeaway from this is the depth and impact of the bench. It was nice to see that we didn't bring in Šeško or Euro to actually kind of, and we didn't have like 5 or 6 young stars on the bench, except for Jack Fletcher. I think even Joshua Zirkzee was missing. I don't really know why Joshua Zirkzee was not on the bench. Maybe he had an injury or something or whatever. But it was good to see, these players turn up. Carrick's substitutions were also spot on. Bringing on Mateusz Cunha from Bryan Mbeumo was actually a masterstroke because Mateusz Cunha, she came on to eventually create the chance that led to Dorgu's goal. Cunha also didn't fill the gap. He created a second goal with a brilliant piece of wing play against O'Reilly. And even Mason Mount, despite his disallowed goal, looked sharp and energetic, and the squad depth is going to be vital as we push for a top 4 finish. Truth is, this is 1 of 17 done, 16 more games to go for the season. So we have to play each game as they come and fight for each game as we can, give our 100%. Then the second positive, the first positive spin from all of it, because obviously there might be negatives, but we have to also spin them into positives, is that there's a Derby revenge arc, right? The best way, and it's kind of like, how we felt at the beginning of the season under Ruben Amorim when we faced Manchester City and they beat us 3-0. The best way to move forward from a blurry past is to avenge a 3-0 Etihad defeat from September. And it was the first time. It was the first item on the agenda. United did it with interest, right? United did it with interest. The 2-0 win and the dominant, and to win 2-0 and also be the dominant side throughout changes the narrative of the season. Now, why I would say that Man United were dominant at some point is the fact that you have to see how potent the game was whenever Man United had the ball. And we have to give credit to that, because the truth is, yeah, in as much as we might want to call it a manager bounce, Man United were dominant and potent whenever they had the ball. You know, the Manchester is Blue talk has been silenced for now. The theater of dreams feels like a fortress again. It's no longer a theater of screams. But you also have to think about it. The Man City fans came to the stadium and they came with confidence that they were going to beat Man United, and obviously they got stung. Now, positive spin number 2 is the fact that the momentum into 2026 has begun. We have to just be positive. That's what I'm trying to say. You know, starting the year with the win over the biggest rivals is the ultimate springboard. But it is the first win for us in 2026, and we've played 2 games. 2026? 2 or 3 games, right? 3 games in 2026. We drew to Burnley, we drew to Leeds, and we lost. Okay, Leeds was 31st. Oh, Leeds was the end of 2025. So we drew to Burnley, we lost to Brighton, and then now we're winning Manchester City. So it's a good way to kind of start the year. That's a positive spin number 2. And then United are now 5th. Under I think we're 5th, and then we dropped down to 6th, or we're 6th and we dropped down to 7th. Yeah, we're 6th and we dropped down to 7th, and we're just like same point with 5th and all of that. So basically, I said this before, like Michael Carrick is one that everybody can back. Like he's one that people can actually back, despite where we're coming from and despite the turmoil with the ownership and all of that. You could see Omar and co rubbing their hands in the stands. You could see, I call them the 3 musketeers because Jim Ratcliffe, Omar and Jason Wilcox rubbing their hands and excited, and Omar giving the fist bumps and stuff, or the fists in the air and all of that. It's like, yeah. In their mind, they would have said, oh, we made the right choice, we made the best move and all of that. But it is what it is, isn't it? So, United are now 5th. And the European spots are within touching distance, obviously, when the Europa League spot now. And the Carrick era has immediately buy-in from the fans. I think this is one that fans can support, barring what is happening with the leadership. There is also a tangible sense of optimism that hasn't been felt at the club in a long time. Long may it continue. And a positive spin number 3 is what happened at halftime, which is a fitting tribute to Dennis Law. This is a sentimental one, basically. Not that Dennis Law is one that I knew, but no, we heard about his his demise last year. So doing this on his first anniversary of his passing felt like destiny. I mean, the king would have loved the gift and the flair and the clinical nature of the performance. It was a day where the history of the club met the future of the club, and the result was nothing short of sensational. Y'all think about that. Y'all think about the fact that it was good because, like I said, anytime we had the ball, it was evident that we were very potent. You know, Michael Carrick is 1 for 1, basically. The tactics were right, the personnel was right, the result was perfect. But this is just the beginning. And can he maintain his intensity against the rest of the league? Next stop is Arsenal. Arsenal. Now, in truth, he's played against Arsenal before, but I think it was under Arteta, and he beat Arteta 3-2. Can we do it again? Because Arsenal have a very good defense. So let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section. I mean, what do you think about, takeaways and everything we've learned? We need to give a special shout out to a lot of people like Michael Carrick for actually coaching the team. Steve Holland, Jonathan Woodgate, most fans don't like. Travis Binion now gaining valuable experience being in the backroom staff. And then you also have, the players. Donald Lamans, 2 saves only. Licha Martinez, Harry Maguire. Dalot up and down a bit, but was good today. I think in the first half he was a bit shaky and he gave like 2 loose passes and stuff, and that really annoyed me. Left back, Luke Shaw did really, really well today. Was very aggressive, and I like his aggressiveness. And then you have to also look at the midfield. Casemiro doing the Lord's work in that midfield, covering all of what Kobe Menu's lapses would be when it comes to leaving space. Menu also doing absolutely well. You know the ratings I gave him. And then obviously on the left wing, Patrick Dorgu giving a man of the match performance. On the right wing, Amad, giving a man of the match performance. In the 10, Bruno giving the man of the match performance. And then Bryan Mbeumo to come back from the AFCON, despite all the form and everything, he still came up with the goods and scored a goal. Started the counter, finished the counter. Started the touch, finished the touch. So it was really good to see these guys actually turn up and do what was necessary to help us achieve great results in this team. So let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section. Who was your man of the match? For me, my man of the match was basically Bruno Fernandes. He put in a stellar performance. My own question to you is, was it Mbeumo, was it Bruno, or maybe Maguire? Hit the subscribe button for more deep dives like this, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Please like this video so more people will see it, and then we can actually, get talking and get building the community. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Goodbye, and God bless.